You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salaam Radio. Salaam Radio. 106.2 FM.
Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to Friday Night Prime, live on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM, online at www.salamradio.co.uk and streaming live on Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. I hope you're well and thank you for joining us this evening. Tonight we have a very, very special guest in the studio. It's Faisel Aziz, CEO of Isaac Wholesale. Faisel and the team at Isaac Wholesale were recently recognised as winners of Business of the Year at the British Muslim Awards 2026. A fantastic achievement and a proud moment, not just for the business, but for the wider community as well. And tonight, we'll be speaking to Faisel about his journey, the story behind Isaac Wholesale, the challenges of building a successful business, the sacrifices made along the way, and what it means to receive national recognition. We'll also explore leadership, faith, resilience, community responsibility and advice for anyone listening who may be thinking about starting or growing their own business. This promises to be a powerful and inspiring discussion. You can get involved during the show by calling us on 01733 602 133 or text the show 07411 191062 or comment on the live streams. Faisel, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Welcome to Friday Night Pride and congratulations on winning Business of the Year at British Muslims Awards 2026.
Thank you very much.
Faisal, let's start with the award. How did it feel when Isaac Wholesale was announced as Business of the Year at the British Muslim Awards 2026?
It was shocking and surprising. It was actually something that the team had been working on in the background and without my knowledge. And so they were trying to surprise me with that as well. So that was at the stage of nomination. And so then it was shortlisted as nomination. So then they told me about it, and then at that stage I think it was a big accomplishment in itself. And then really beyond that, we didn't necessarily think we would win it, but alhamdulillah, we did. So.
Mashallah. You know, so I'm just trying to picture the scene right now. So they haven't told you you've been nominated, then they tell you, oh, by the way, you're going for this award. Yeah. Did you then realise, hold on a minute, my team can keep secrets?
Yes, they can, yeah.
Absolutely. What did the moment mean for you personally? Your family, your team, and everyone connected to Isaac Wholesale. You know, you've just won this award. What does that mean to you personally and the team?
Yeah, I'd say for me, what makes me proud is that it's a recognition of my colleagues as well, and I think that's more important for me than it is as an individual. Yes, it's a great achievement for me, but to see my team, it's a recognition of my team's work, I think, as opposed to myself. So it is a proud moment in that sense.
MashaAllah. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. How did your business journey start? What inspired you to get into this industry?
Yeah, so Dad started the business in 2002, following on from having his own fast food business, Eastern Delight, in 91. And over that time, there were challenges that he was facing in terms of halal supply, and just regular deliveries as well. So maybe he'd have fortnightly deliveries, he'd have to stock up, he couldn't get halal supply as well as convenient as possible as it is today. 2002, he thought there was an opportunity there to start. It was a time, I would say, a lot of people in ethnic fast food wholesale did start up around that time as well. So naturally, across the country, a lot of people did see that opportunity, and they did also, start such things. Over the years, I think Dad's sort of carried on that path, and I'd say the first 6 years, he had a lot of challenges starting up initially, and then at that point I turned around. I think I was 16 at the time when I first started working in 2008, and it was just interesting because I just got thrown into it, and just seeing everything around me, I was like, everything he's doing, like there was literally there wasn't a moment to breathe because there was always something to do. No one actually told me, this needs doing or that needs doing. I could actually see it myself. So it was just like, that delivery needs picking, or that phone needs answering, or this the floor needs brushing even, so whatever it may be. So there was a lot to do, and it was constantly like that, I think, for many, many years. And then over time we did bring on more people at, say, management level, got the right people in as well. Whereas before, early days, it was like, I was the marketing department, I was the HR, the health and safety, the transport, the sales, the sales manager, the sales telesales person. I was the delivery driver and the driver's mate at times. So I was a bit of everything. So over time, yeah, you bring people in, and I think that's been a big thing for us as well. Just putting that trust in other people to do a better job than you as well, even, and it allows you to focus on the business as well.
I mean, of course, that absolutely sounds like all hands on deck there. So you're 16, and over the years, you're starting to watch how your dad is literally running this business by doing all the roles himself, and then you eventually, as you grow up, you're inheriting some of these roles to ease the burden on your dad. And was there a moment at that time when you're young, obviously, late teens now, I'm talking early 20s, you think to yourself, I don't know if this is really for me, because obviously I'm working in this at the time. It's a cash and carry. It's fast paced. There's not a lot of time to take breaks and so on, because, like you said, the phones are ringing, etc. And was there any moment early doors where you just felt, oh, I'm not sure if this is really for me?
The good thing for the business was that it always has been in a growth trajectory.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, I did have an interest in economics, business. And I think just being thrown into that environment, it was able to be something that's very close to me as well, I'd say, because for me it was like there's so much to do here, so I can't. That fast-paced environment is what I thrive off as well.
Okay.
So there is that enjoyment, and people ask me all the time, especially in the industry, because you find people that just do eventually get fed up and then they move on. But for me, I love it and I enjoy it, so I
Mashallah.
can't even see myself doing it.
Was there a particular moment when you realised this could become something bigger? At that, while you're in the cut and thrust and everything's going fast, you're enjoying it, and then you're like, was there a moment you thought, we could potentially scale this?
At that stage, when I was 16, I'd say no. Me personally, all I could see, it was very much what's in front of me. But then I think by me taking on such responsibilities there, it allowed my dad to sort of step back and look at the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process, over the 5 years, whilst I was working part-time, still at school and uni, he did go out and purchase a larger building, so for us to move into. And at that stage, we didn't necessarily need to move out into that building, so it was a big step up, and it was an opportunity to grow and expand. So I think he, at that stage, did have that picture. And then the day I did step into that new building, and started working full time, then yeah, I could see that from that moment onwards, I would say, and so sort of I'd say from when I became full time. And it's really more taking on his vision as well at that stage, and then just seeing how far we can take it.
MashaAllah. We've already had a text in. We've had it from Peter. Peter's asking, every success story has challenges behind it. What were some of the hardest moments you faced while building Isaac Wholesale? Thanks for the question there, Peter.
Yeah, I'd say the early challenges, I know Dad did face a lot of challenges, and he would be better equipped to answer such questions, but I would say the challenges that I personally have encountered since joining, you can say it's about, I would say it's always a learning stage, I would say. So there's always something that will happen that's new to you, and you can never sort of be on top of it in that sense. And whatever the challenge might be, I think it is something that you can overcome, whether it's small or large. I mean, there's things on a small scale even, I would say, that are more important to me in particular. I would say it's more about getting the small things right rather than focusing on the big things, maybe one big thing, rather focus on 100 small things and get them right, rather than get the one big thing right. So, and I think that has a greater compounding impact over the time as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Many people don't look at it like that, though. They will just think, okay, well, I've got this is the biggest problem I've got, not realizing how things can be interconnected. And if you were to have a better process, better system in place, and you could, depending on the situation, how you can deal with that going forward. And thanks for the question there, Peter. And if you're listening and just tuned in, we're live on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM. This is Friday Night Prime. I have the CEO of Isaac Wholesale here with me, Faisel Aziz, winner of Business of the Year at the British Muslims Awards, and we're talking about his journey and the business as well. If you have any questions, you can text on 07411 191 062. In the difficult periods, Faisal, what kept you going and stopped you from giving up?
Yeah, so this is a good question, actually. So it's something that my dad's always reminded me of as well over the time, because it is a family business, and I know you're going to come on to a question about that in a second. So, with there's always been a time, I'd say, there's whether if I'm feeling a bit deflated, then my dad's there and he's in high spirits, and then sort of I have to lift myself up to that level. Or if he's in low spirits, and then it's me, lifting him up, sort of thing. So I think those things do help, and I think it's the people around you in that sense. So for me, I would say it's that.
What's it like working with Dad?
It can be challenging, but I think it's been interesting, and I wouldn't have changed it. So it's been fun as well. It's been good. In my childhood, I'd say, didn't really see him much because he was doing late nights at the takeaway, sleeping in during the day. I'd be at school, then he'd be off to work. So I suppose working became our relationship as well. So working together.
Yeah.
And it brought us closer together in that sense as well.
Did you ever take work home?
Yeah, it's a 24/7 thing, isn't it?
It's,
So, yeah.
so it's natural, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll tell you a story about your dad. You're right, in the early 90s, Eastern Delight, and I remember going there, I'm not, of course I'm showing my age, but me and my friends would, go down Russell Street, go onto Lincoln Road, and we'd all go to Eastern Delight. They had the best chips, right, and the best burger. And Uncle used to stand there. We'd all walking. We were very young, right, and most of us were skipping mosque or something. And listen, this was normal back in the 90s. If you're just tuning in now, and your dad was a gentleman. Really, really looked after us as well. I've got fond memories of Eastern Delight. So whenever you mention it, I just smile. Because Uncle was fabulous, always looked after us, even though we're tiny little kids. Going in there with a pound bought you a lot in 1991. I can tell you that now. Alhamdulillah. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned as a business owner and CEO?
I'd say people are important, processes are important, systems. I'd say motivation is short-lived. Discipline is long term, but obsession is
forever.
That's it.
There's something you touched on there. I want to grow on this. A lot of people don't appreciate this, I don't think, enough. And that is a system. If you can build the correct system, your feelings no longer matter. So you can have, like you were saying, you can feel low, and your dad can feel high, and so on. But if the system is robust, the business continues, knowing that the input outcome should be exactly where you want it to be because the system is robust. And that's what is required when you're scaling an organization, isn't it? When you have these robust systems in place, you can have a staff turnover, it does not matter, because you're training these people to follow a specific system because that's the input. And then the part of that system, the output, is what you're going to measure. And it's because you have a robust system in place. And do you find that working with your dad and your team over the years, going into the new building, that you had to put a lot of new systems in place, and now they're in the correct place for you to scale this business?
Yeah, 100%. I'd say we're always refining them, but over the years it's just been about looking at each department, just putting in the right things, right processes in place there. In particular, I'd say the last 18 months or so, we have worked on our foundations quite heavily, and we're ready for our next stage of growth now. So.
And that should be a natural process, because the system is so robust. I often see when I'm talking to people in the industries, and often one of the successful elements of the business is literally the system. Without that system, they're unable to move forward. So, and that takes me into your team. So, how important is it to you to have a team that you can rely on and grow to help you have more success in your business?
It's very important, and I would say certain qualities matter more to me as an individual, those being, say, trust, loyalty, accountability, work ethic, and even communication, because I would say it's something that we are working on, communication, I would say. But those things for me, if I get those qualities out of somebody, I think we can go very far together.
Mashallah, you're absolutely right. I've got another question in now. This is from Jenny. Jenny's asking, thanks for the question, Jenny's asking, as a leader, how do you create the right culture within a business?
It's been very hard over the years, I'd say. Now I would say we are a very good place that we're happy with, and it's a positive environment. It's an environment where we're proud of. There's staff retention is very good, and sorry, I don't like to use the word staff. Team members, yeah. So yeah, I think it's just about creating that as well. It's like we had the win of the award, and so we celebrate. That's not my win, that's the team's win. So it's about celebrating the team, for instance. So yeah, if something like I'm on here today, great, but I've told the team that we're on the radio, so it's not
exactly, and that's how it should be, shouldn't it? Yeah. Do you find that your style and your father's style are very different?
Not very different, I would say. There's a lot of things, many things that I've taken as inspiration from him, and some lessons that I still stand by till today. There are certain things that I would do that he wouldn't have done, but it's not to say that either of us are wrong. It's just a different approach, I'd say.
MashaAllah. How much of your business approach is shaped by your values, faith, and upbringing?
I would say most of it, because I'm a strong believer that business is an Amanah on us, and for that I would say profit comes second. So the first thing is, how do we conduct business, and that's the most important thing, and what are we doing with our profits. And even it's not even just that, it's what are we doing day to day, and how are we conducting business. Are we doing it ethically? Are we doing it by the book as well, not cutting corners, being trustworthy? Even like our sales team, for instance, we don't call them sales people, they're customer growth partners. And we don't like that whole strong salesy approach. We like them to be gentle in their approach, or rather they shouldn't be blurring the lines, rather than be honest with their customers as well. So it's just, these things matter to me. Honesty is,
integrity is clearly really important to you, isn't it?
yeah.
You could try to turn off the sun, I'm still gonna shine away, yeah, and tell everyone we're having some fun today. We can go wherever you wanna and do whatever you like. Let's just have a real good time. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. I just wanna spread love and peace and all of my happiness, yeah, to everyone that I meet, 'cause I'm feeling spectacular. I love it when we love one another. Give thanks every day for this life, even with a smile on my face. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. Spread peace on the earth, cherish the love that is around us. Spread peace on the earth, treasure the love that is around us. Always be kind, always remind one another. Peace on the earth every day. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum, yeah. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. peace on the earth every day.
MashaAllah, that was Harris J there with Salaam Alaikum. I hope you enjoyed that. It's a wonderful nasheed. I'm here in the studio with the CEO of Isaac Wholesale, Faisel Aziz. We're talking about his wonderful win at the British Muslim Awards 2026 and also about his journey through the business and his team and his support from his family. If you want to get involved in the show, you can call us on 01733 602 133 or text the show on 074 11 191062 or comment on the live streams, Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. I've got a question here, Faisal, from Kiran. Kiran is asking, as a Asian businessman who started work at such a young age, what do you think about the current climate with young people not in employment, education or training?
Not in employment, education or training.
Yeah, I think the word is NEET. That is the abbreviation is.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do I think they should do? Or
No, what do you generally think of the state of young
Okay.
people now? Because you started, I think, Kieran, I'm just adding to your question here, which is, you started at 16 and there was an opportunity in front of you.
Yes.
There's literally millions of people in the UK now
Yep.
who don't have these opportunities and they're doing nothing.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's interesting. So I'd say actually before I even started working there, I saw my friends going out to apply for jobs and part-time jobs and things like that. And at that stage I wasn't working, and it was just at that age it seemed everybody did work, and probably same time for you as well. I think people do go out looking for part-time work and just side jobs. Great and all, but I'd say yes, it is harder now. Even in retail, for example, those are easy jobs to get, because you can get a part-time job for a few months. But yeah, these days I'd say it's everything is on socials as well and online, and kids tend to stay inside more. They don't really interact much, going outside too much and things like that. But I think for me personally, with my kids, I'd rather just bring it out from that point of view. So like my eldest is 10 now, and I was hesitant to send him to the shops, and at that age, I was going to the shops. But so now they do go, both of them, both kids, and things like that, and just getting them out the house. They'll go play out on the road like I used to. But early on, I was like, are they going to be doing those same things? But because I couldn't see it, I just saw them stuck on their phones, stuck on their TVs. But yeah, I think just getting them outside, we were exposing them to the business as well. So like, I think whether you've got a business yourself or not, I think we should expose them to something. So whether it's your own job as well. So I think the kids, they see that as well, and they have got an interest in the business as well. But if I didn't have the business, I'd have a job somewhere, and I'd be getting them involved in that as well, so they can see that as well and get sort of some level of interest. So I think we should communicate more with them.
No, I agree with you. I mean, look, we live in a society now where everything is so fast-paced, isn't it? Where people will see somebody with a fancy car or a fancy phone or wherever it may be, and they're just like, oh well, Faisal works for his dad's business and it's been easy for him. What do you say to somebody who might say that to you? Oh, look at you, you're just, your dad's done all the hard work and you've not earned it, and you're driving a fancy motor. How does that make you feel? What does that make you feel?
Me in particular, I find it funny, but no, look, I think I would say, yeah, it's easy to assume that about me in particular, because fine, but I've been working since I was 16 as well, so it's like coming 19 years this month as well. So when I first started working full time, I was working from end of May up until November, 7 days a week, and those were long days as well. So like, it's just, I'm not saying I deserve to have, say, the position I'm in. I've been blessed with that, so alhamdulillah, thank you for that. But it's more about, I'd say, you still, regardless of what opportunities you have or don't have, I think it's still, you should still try to do something, even if you can't think of what to do or the right thing to do. I think you should still stay in motion, because I think being in motion is very important, because if you're not doing anything, then you go in the opposite direction, in where you might think you're not going to get anywhere, but you're going to go backwards. Whereas if you're in motion, at least you're stepping in the right direction, and it might not be in the right direction, but you'll get there eventually somehow, even if it's the long way around.
I agree with you, Corinne. I hope that answers your question, and I appreciate you sending that in. You can also get involved in the show by commenting on the live stream or texting 07411 191062. Faisel Aziz here, CEO of Isaac Wholesale. We are discussing his business, what drives him, and his epic win for him and his company at the British Muslims Awards 2026. You know, Faisal, I'm listening to you and I can see that you've worked very hard from a very young age, and this was all earned. It wasn't given.
Yeah, Dad made sure of that as well. So even now, we're still earning for it. So yeah.
And I guess in many ways, that's why you're encouraging your own children, isn't it? Because what your dad's instilled in you has worked.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, look, I think naturally as grandparents, they're very giving with the grandparents, but with the kids, they are tough. And Dad is tough on us, and I'm glad I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
I think without that, I would just, again, I would be doing nothing at this age as well. So.
Well, kudos to your dad. Unbelievable. We're already halfway through the show, Faisal. We'll come back after this short break. Do stay tuned to Salaam Radio 106.2 FM.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
At Master's Pharmacy, we put your health and convenience first. We offer free blood pressure checks and blister-packed medication. With our free same-day prescription delivery service, you can have your medication when you need it. We also offer travel vaccinations, including Hajj and Umrah, along with other services to meet all your pharmacy needs. For more information, contact Master's Pharmacy on 01733 567 208 or visit us at 303 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PH.
कश्मीर ऑर्फन्स रिलीफ ट्रस्ट कोड आप ही के अतियात से हजारों यतीम बच्चों की जिंदगियां बदल रहा है। इस रमजान मुबारक में अपनी ज़कात, सदकात, फितराना और अतियात कोर्ट को दें। नेकी और खैर के इस अमल में आपका हिस्सा अल्लाह पाक कबूल फरमाए, आमीन।
Code Educational Complex, Jatla Road, Akhtarabad, Mirpur, Azad Kashmir, UK office 0300 123 7774. Code.org.uk.
2020 World Buffet is inspired by the best foods from around the world. See our teppanyaki chefs grill your food to order, or choose delicious Indian, Italian, Chinese, Mexican dishes and British favourites, all halal. 2020 World Buffet offers you unlimited food at a set price. Open 7 days for lunch and dinner. Catering, wedding and party services available too. Call 01733 566 320 or visit 2020buffet.co.uk. 2020 World Buffet, 35 New Road, Peterborough, PE1 1FJ.
Ayada Care Limited provide quality and compassionate care at home support services, respecting the cultural, linguistic and religious backgrounds of those we care for. We find out exactly what our clients need, then match our trained Ayada staff to meet their personalised yet affordable care plans, promoting independence and mental health well-being. Call 01733 666 801 to speak with registered manager Iqbal Manji, or visit ayadacare.co.uk for details.
At Cake Inn, all our cakes and slices are freshly baked for that delicious taste. At Cake Inn, we bake 100% vegetarian and halal eggless fresh cream cakes. Delicious flavoured cakes for birthdays and weddings, ceremonies and all other occasions, with free customised messages, even balloons and candles too. Order for delivery or collection from Cake Inn, 489 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PE, and your cake could be ready within 2 hours. Find out more and order online at cakeinn.co.uk or call 01733 496 584.
Peterborough's community radio station, Salaam Radio, 106.2 FM.
You're tuned into Friday Night Prime live on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM and www.salaamradio.co.uk. Live on streams, Facebook, X, Twitch, YouTube. We're live. I'm joined in the studio. What's wrong with me tonight? By Faisel Aziz, CEO of Isaac Wholesale, winner of Business of the Year at the British Muslims Award. We're talking about business, leadership, resilience, community, and journey behind the success. So if you have missed the first half of the show, you can rewatch on YouTube on the Salaam Radio YouTube channel. Do search for that. Faisel, I've seen you in mosques, so I know you pray. How important is your religion to you as you shape the business?
It comes first, I'd say. A particular story comes in my mind all the time. It's going back a few years now, and I asked. I was on night shift at the time, and I asked. I was just overseeing the area, and I asked one of the guys there. I was like, "Is it alright if I just step away for a bit so I can pray?" And he said to me, "We'll close the whole business so we can all pray like that." And he emphasized on that, the importance of it, and I always remember that. And it's like, yes, if you need to, do it. So I think put religion first. Yeah.
Mashallah, that's amazing. It's very heartening to hear that, you know that, and especially in a Muslim-owned business. You know, often we think it's a given. Someone's a Muslim, so they'll have a facility or an area for someone to pray, because often as Muslims we look for these in non-Muslim environments, don't we? You know, we'll go to an airport, we'll go to a shopping centre, whatever it may be. We're like, do they have a quiet room? Do they have a prayer room? And you know, places like Milton Keynes, for example, they've got a wudu area and a prayer area, which is wonderful. But not everywhere has that, and including not every Muslim business also has a prayer room. So it's heartening to hear that, and that must have really given you some energy, like, yeah, you know what, I'm in the right place, I can pray and I can work, and my team also want to pray and work.
Yeah, I think back then as well, it was in that particular phase, I was working on nights with them as well, so it's like, we would all pray together in Jamaat and everything. So it's nice to be able to pray together, then work together, so you just get closer in that sense as well, don't you? So,
mashallah. You know, I feel like I want to go there now and pray with you as well, inshallah, maybe in the future. Look, I also know from doing research about you and the business that Isaac Wholesale has a tremendous footprint in Peterborough doing charitable work. Okay, I see your logos, I see you, I see your dad, I see other Isaac team members at events. I'll go to a football match, so take, for example, FC Peterborough. You know, I see Isaac Wholesale boards there. I see you, supporting other local charities and other entities. Why is that so important to you?
I'd say giving back is important. In particular, I would say there's certain things that resonate with different people, right? For me in particular, I'd say things involving youth are important to me. They sit closely with me. And I think, even if I just take my son as an example and I say, cool, you can go to, say, a football club, or you can go to a wrestling club, and you can go to the mosque, and he's mixing with people in all three environments, and knowing that he's got friendship circles in all those three places, I think that sort of inspires me to say, other kids, and support them in that sense as well, and just build stronger ties as well.
MashaAllah. Do you know, Faisal, I've been sat here in the seat, we've been obviously entertaining quite a lot of questions, but we've also had a lot more that is coming in as well. So we've got somebody called Shaquille. Shaquille is asking, what is your biggest lesson you have taken from your childhood to help you become successful today?
Yeah. So, well, I'll talk about the first business deal I did then.
Okay.
So I think I was about 10 years old, and you get those alphabet toys where you get these little blocks and it says ABC on the back. It says like A for apple.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
So my younger brother had one of those, but it had broken. So then I was with my cousins and one of my friends. So there was four of us, and I had a little idea. I was like, we could take these blocks, put an elastic band through them, rubber band through them, and tie them up, and then sell them as bracelets. It's like sell A to someone called, say, whose name starts with A, and so on. And two of them said, yeah, great. One said, nah, it's not going to work. So I was cool, let's do it. Let's try it. Sold a few to friends and family and whatnot. And it was interesting because the person that said, no, it's not going to work, he still said, oh, it didn't work, did it? But I said it did work because we did sell some. Yeah, we didn't sell everything. We didn't sell
That's right.
X because there's no one called X. So, but yeah, it's like, I think the lesson for me to take away from that is you'll always have people saying, oh, it's not going to work. And I think me personally, I try to avoid sharing things with certain people for that reason as well. So you have to be careful with who you're speaking to in your environment in that sense. So, surround yourself with people that are like-minded, but at the same time, putting yourself in environments that are a little bit different as well does help at times. But for your cause, I'd say surround yourself with like-minded people.
Appreciate that. So there's your answer there, Shaquille. We've also had Faisel. Faisel said, Salaam, how do I ask a question to Faisel? Faisel, you just asked that question. So if you want to text it again, please do so. We've got a question here from Abu Isa. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Assalamu alaikum, brothers, and a big salam to our young CEO, Faisel. He says, where do you see Isaac Wholesale in the next 5 years, and what do you plan to do differently compared to other current suppliers?
I see Isaac Wholesale as a food service partner to QSR brands, nationally speaking. Right now, yes, we deal with a lot of independent businesses and some level of franchises, but yeah, we're looking to go national.
MashaAllah. I appreciate the question there, Abu Isa. And it looks like Faisal has messaged again. I'm not sure if this is the same person. No, it's a different Faisal. He said, Assalamu alaikum, brother Faisal. Impressed with your rebrand from Adams Cash and Carry. I saw your truck drive by in Leicester, mashallah. Wishing you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much.
MashaAllah. I appreciate the questions. Keep them coming. 07411 191 062 or comment on the live stream Facebook, X, YouTube and Twitch. How important is it for young Muslims and young people from our community to see positive business role models?
It's very important, I'd say, because I think unfortunately success is determined by what people see in terms of, oh, that person's dressed nicely, or they've got a nice car, or fine, they have a business and then they've got a nice car. But really, I don't think that's what's too important. What's more important is the person itself behind that business. And I think if that person's a good role model and can be a good inspiration themselves as an individual, I think that's more important, regardless of what they might be dressed like, or regardless of what car they might drive.
Yeah,
I think those things are more important. And the reason I'd say that is because then it's mixed messaging, because then you've got people that aspire to just have a nice car, where it's not about that. That shouldn't be the end goal. The goal should be to just have success. For really, money doesn't really drive everybody. I know people talk about money, but quite often, and people think that's what they want, but in reality it isn't. If it is money, really what they're looking for is time. And it could be something else. It could be they just want a bit of some people say go after fame, for example. But yeah, I think whatever sort of drives them, I think people need to figure that out first, and it's never normally money. I think find the right thing there first.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. And I guess that's why you mentioned early on about trust, honesty and integrity, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Especially with your team and your colleagues, where that because of that, those skills and part of who they are as individuals, that they're the right people to help you scale. Because money is just part of the course at the end of the day. If it's going to arrive if the right people are in play, with the right mindset, with the right processes, with the right systems in place, you're going to grow. And that's evidently what's happened. Somebody mentioned earlier on, and it was something I was going to ask you as well, was it a tough decision to pivot from Adams Cash and Carry, a really well-known institution here in Peterborough, to Isaac Wholesale? I appreciate there must have been a strategic decision, but those conversations with Dad must have been interesting.
Interestingly, it was actually a bit of the opposite. So,
okay.
We were thinking about changing the name for many years anyway, not to remove the Adams part, but more the cash and carry, because the cash and carry concept is a dated term. But at the same time, the times have changed, and it's just a bit odd to have cash in the name when everything's paid through card payments anyway.
Yeah.
So we were planning to change that, and then there was a particular moment, I'd say, that inspired that, which was actually Abu Isa that messaged in earlier. He actually got us mixed up for someone else, and I thought, you know what, Adam's name is just very much out there and everywhere, so but there's no one called Isaac Wholesale, and so there was no conflict of interest in that sense. I realised in that moment actually that perception is very important, and the first impression is very important, and that was Abu Isa's first impression of our business. And to know that he's already got us mixed up in the first impression, already I'm going backtracking on
That's right.
who we are and everything like that. I'm trying to explain to him that, and so I think the first impression matters, and I think it was a handful of things. So it was that, and it's I think we were operating differently. Yeah, we started operating differently anyway. So regardless of a name change or not, we were planning to rebrand anyway.
Okay.
And we needed that. We needed that life coming into the business. Before it was just, we had a particular approach which was about making who could make the loudest noise, I'd say, and that wins the business, right? But now it's just working more on a strategic level with customers and adding value, working as an extension of their business. And I think over time it was needed. So the two things, I think, and they all came together. So
At the right time.
yeah. So I think on Saturday I decided, 100% I have to change the name. And then by Sunday, spoke to my siblings, they all agreed as well. By Monday, I said it to my dad, he said, yeah, go for it. So that was in the morning, and then by the afternoon, we had all sat down and said, okay, what do we need to do? And then literally on the Monday, we just changed it on Company's House, and then we started the process.
Yes, I do recall actually. I was invited to the launch event, which is wonderful. I really enjoyed your hospitality there as well, and I think it looks great, by the way. Completely different, modern, sleek look, isn't it now, with the logo and everything on the vehicle? So yeah, I absolutely agree with. There was a message that came in earlier on for seeing one of your vans. So Shaquille has also messaged again. He's saying you are very successful, mashallah. How do you continue to challenge yourself and overcome these challenges?
How do I continue to challenge myself? Like being on air, for example. This is a big challenge for me.
Well, I'm just normal. We know each other. Come on.
I know you, but it's out of my comfort zone.
Alhamdulillah. Well, you're doing great.
Yeah, I think there's things that ultimately I think it comes down to confidence. So if you keep trying, keep going for it, it might take you a long time to actually get to that point to do something and to take that first step. But when you do, eventually you realise, oh, it was down to confidence. It wasn't necessarily down to skill level or anything like that, because those things can be learnt, but ultimately that step is taken with confidence.
Yeah, I agree with you, mashallah. We've got another comment. This time it's coming from YouTube. Salaam alaikum, brother Mancha Yusuf. He's saying, amazing, well done, a lesson to all our youngsters. Hard work, dedication, and the belief in Allah equals success.
Thank you very much.
And that's a fact, isn't it, at the end of the day? You work hard, you have faith, you have your values, and the way you approach business. When you incorporate all of these things together, more often than not, you're going to be successful, aren't you?
Yep.
Okay, what role do you feel successful businesses should play in supporting the local community?
I would say at every stage they could, because I think it's important, especially, it's interesting for me to say, but I'd say local businesses in particular, I'm a big believer of like just helping smaller businesses as opposed to bigger companies. So let's say if you could go to a local takeaway as opposed to going to a big brand out there, I'm a big believer you should support that smaller business and local people as well. And it's like people from out of the city may open businesses here, and I always feel a bit, why are somebody else opening a business in Peterborough, or rather somebody from Peterborough open it here, so it's like I'm a big believer of that. But the same way the community supports the business, right? So people should also support the businesses, should also support the community as well. So yeah, I think it's important.
MashaAllah. And I have to say, yourself, you've supported Salaam Radio for quite some time now, and we really appreciate that as well. As well as, again, with the other hat, literal hat that I'm wearing today as well, you supported iCare Peterborough for many years now as well, mashallah. We really, really appreciate that as well. And again, I can now speak from experience, whenever I knock on your door, it's never a no, it's like, how can we do this? And mashallah, it's great. And I think more than anything, I guess you're showing your colleagues and who some of them I've got to know because of the charity work, which is, hey, listen, we're a business and we're here to support our clients, but charity and supporting local entities is also part of who we are. That's part of our brand. That's part of who we are as individuals and Muslims.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's part of our brand because quite honestly, a lot of what we do, try not to talk about it and don't want it to be part of the brand in that sense because, well, I'd just rather do it privately in that sense. But it's more about, you can say it's part of I like to think it's part of our DNA, as in that sense, so rather than in that sense, yeah.
Well, I'll be honest with you, you say that, and as I said to you when I was researching and preparing myself for the show, a lot of people who I spoke to spoke very fondly about the Isaac Wholesale team and formerly Adams Cash and Carry for being so generous with their time and resources for helping local organisations, whether that's charities or other types of entities. So I can tell you from the other side of the lens then, even though for your intentions and so on, it's like, this is who you are and you want to support local entities, there's also the other side of it, which is people also have very positive things to say about yourself, the team, the business, because you do actually go and help people to then thrive. And it doesn't have to be a food business of any nature. It could literally be a masjid, whoever it is. And it all goes full circle, doesn't it? Because at the end of the day, you then have people making dua for your business as well.
Yeah.
MashaAllah. What advice would you give to somebody listening tonight who has an idea, a dream, or a small business but lacks the confidence to take the next step?
I'd say you have to get that confidence first of all. But I'd say there's nothing to be scared about, because the best thing that could happen to you actually is to fail. Because if you succeed on your first try, then when you fail, you're not going to know how to handle it. So you'd rather try, fail, keep going until you do succeed, because how many times will you fail? Eventually you will succeed. So
yeah, this is true, isn't it? We often hear a lot of entrepreneurs and people like yourself in these positions where you'll talk about, look, there's so many lessons in failure. And with that in mind, Faisal, do you ever find yourself where you've tried something new and it hasn't worked out? Do you ever get disheartened? Do you just think, right, there's lessons here and we'll learn from this and we'll build?
Literally, I'd say for me it's a split second of, it didn't work. But then straight after that, okay, why didn't it work? What can we do about it? And then just move on to it. Or if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be, just move on.
Okay, so thank you for that. So Sharon has just texted in. Sharon is saying, Faisal, enjoying the interview. Well done for your award win. She's asking, what would your team members say about you? Sharon, that's a great question.
I'd say ask them in the comments. Yeah, it's going to sound and make me sound arrogant, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to hit you with something. You got to give Sharon something.
Got to give something.
Got to give something to Sharon.
I'd say I'm approachable. I'd say, yeah, literally they could approach me for anything small or big. They know that I'm always available in that sense. They never have to feel guilty about it in that sense.
Do they know that you'll take them serious every time?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Irrespective of what it may be.
Yeah.
Okay, mashallah. Sharon, thanks for the question. Really appreciate that. You can, if you're listening to the show, you can comment on live streams or text the show on 07411 191 060. You're a very popular man. We've got so many messages coming in, and mashallah, I'm sure you haven't paid everybody. Okay, so we've got Zishan, Faisal's nephew. Faisal is a very good role model to me, and mashallah, a true inspiration, especially as his nephew. He's built a successful business while staying humble, generous, and respectful to everyone around him, unlike many. Wow, unlike many, eh? We've also got another Faisal who's watching on YouTube, Salaam brother Faisal Mahmood. He's saying, you are a great inspiration for the next generation. Keep up the great work. Absolutely loving the rebranding. So you've definitely got a lot of people, watching you and listening to you and following your story. And I said this to you when we were putting the show together as well, about inspiring a Faisal who is 12 years old. So with that all in mind, and being successful as you are, with so many people also now sharing in that moment of knowing and seeing you grow, what would you say to a 12-year-old Faisel Aziz who's at school right now, doesn't really know what he wants to do with life?
Yeah, let's make it 10 years old, because then I can talk about my son.
That's not fair.
So he asked me, I can't remember exactly what he asked me, but it led back to me teaching him what supply and demand was.
Okay.
And this was the other night, and I said, you should have paid attention 4 years ago when it was COVID and you were at home, and I was trying to teach you then, but he was too young then to understand what it was.
So it would have been 6?
He would have been 6, yeah.
That's so funny.
I was giving him homeschooling a bit at the time, so I was like, I'll teach you a bit of economics. But yeah, I'd say, repeat the question, sorry.
So what would you say?
What would I say? Okay. Yeah, I think they need inspiration at that age, and I think that's they can very, very quickly get disheartened by the smallest things, and I think it's important to remind them that failures are part of life, but it's fine. And I would say keep that inspiration there, and they have a lot of excitement at that age as well, and they can swing very easily in either direction as well. But they are resilient in that sense as well at a young age. So I think it's just keep them motivated, keep them inspired, just lead them down the straight path, but a good path as well. Like my dad always did that with me as well. So it was always like, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that, but you can do this and you should do that, and this is why you should do it. So those sorts of things, they are important, and I think it's easy to just forget about that because you only have a few hours after work, for example, before they're going to sleep. But as much as you can, I'd say have that influence on them.
MashaAllah, no, absolutely wonderful advice there. If you're listening to the show right now, this is Friday Night Live, Friday Night Prime. What an evening it's been already for me. I've forgotten my own show name there, Faisal. You've had such an impact on me, my friend. You're listening to Live on 106.2 FM. You can call the show, actually. We're waiting for a call. There's so many messages coming in. We'll have a call, 01733 602 133. I've got a BA sat there in the office, happy to take your call. You can comment on the live streams. Text 07411 191 In the studio here with Faisel Aziz, CEO of Isaac Wholesale, mashallah. He's sharing his journey with us about his business and how well they're doing, mashallah, with so many comments coming in as well. So it's been fantastic to have you with us this evening and answered all these questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
5 years' time, I see myself at the pinnacle to what I think is possible in the industry. So individually speaking, I'm not answering that question individually speaking, I'm answering that question as the business. But yeah, that's where we want to be in 5 years, at the top of our space.
And there was something that you mentioned earlier on. I just want to go backwards a little bit. It was the first half of the show. You mentioned about your dad bought some land. Is that where the current site is? So where your current
on the show?
Yeah. So you mentioned he bought.
That's right, yeah.
He had a vision, and he was looking far ahead. So do you see yourself scaling this even further?
Yeah, so I think we've got a lot of capacity here, and I think what we want to achieve, we can do from here. So it's, there's no limitations in that sense. I think it's just about being clever with how we do it operationally, which I'll get a buzz out of anyway. So I think just always thinking of how can we make it more operationally better in that sense. So yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks for that. We've got Muhammad who's just texted. Muhammad is asking, do you think enough support exists for local entrepreneurs and small businesses?
I would say if I go back to when I was younger, I would say there seemed to be a lot of support available in terms of through the government, things like that. I could always see something out there. I feel as though maybe I'm wrong, but I don't seem to see those things anymore. But I think it's support for this personally, I don't think that's really a limitation, or even if there isn't support there, I think it's more down to yourselves as an individual. It's just about the things that you're sort of mixing yourselves in. So what content are you looking at? How are you spending your time? What conversations are you having? Are those leading towards things that reach your goals, towards your business or your aspirations? But I think you can make it happen without support or not.
MashaAllah. We've actually got a call, so I put it out there, didn't I? So we've got a Mr. Khan. Salaam Alaikum. You're live on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM.
Wa alaikum salam.
Mr. Khan, what would you like to say to Brother Faisel Aziz right now?
I just want to say congratulations, first of all, on the award, on the Oceanic Award. And I would also like to say to Faisal that he's an inspiration to us all, and the works that he does, not with the charity work locally, and it's not and always supporting all the causes, mashallah. Very, very active and always inspiring. So may Allah bless you, and may you continue to be successful. May Allah grant you success here and the hereafter as well, inshallah.
Ameen. Jazakallah khair. Appreciate the call. Thank you very much. That's it. Brother Faisal, we're running out of time. If there's one message you want to give to a listener tonight and take away from your journey, what would that be?
I'd say focus your time, maximize it, and apply the 80-20 principle. I'd say just 80% of your time focus on what you actually want to achieve, and get far.
MashaAllah. A heartfelt thank you to our guest, Faisel Aziz, CEO of Isaac Wholesale, for joining us in the studio this evening and sharing your journey with us. Once again, huge congratulations for your win for Business of the Year, British Muslims 2026. Thank you for listening to Friday Night Prime. May Allah put more barakat in your business.